Have you ever wondered where your mind goes when you sleep? Is it truly at rest, or is it working in the background in ways we don't fully understand? In today's video, we explore this fascinating question by diving deep into the connection between sleep, dreams, and the mind, all from a unique Buddhist perspective. We'll also uncover the scientific facts behind deep sleep, the importance of dream states, and how your sleep cycle impacts your waking life. Trust us, this video is packed with valuable insights you don't want to miss. Watch till the end to get the full picture and uncover the secrets of mindful sleep. Chapter 1, Sleep, the Beginning of Rest. Sleep begins with that unmistakable sense of quiet, a moment where the world seems to fade away. Picture this: you lie down, and suddenly, the busyness of the day starts to soften, like the volume being turned down on a radio. The rush of thoughts, worries, and plans gradually slows. The light around you dims, the sounds around you fade, and even the tension in your muscles begins to dissolve. You feel the sensation of relaxing into your bed, your body finally able to release the strain of the day. From a Buddhist perspective, this transition into sleep is more than just physical rest, it's an important moment of mental shift. Buddhism emphasizes balance, teaching that every aspect of life, including sleep, requires moderation. The Buddha's teachings, particularly in the Sigalovada Sutta, suggest that we should avoid extremes, including those of sleep. Too much sleep can leave you groggy and unclear, like your mind is trapped in a thick fog. Too little sleep, on the other hand, makes you irritable, frazzled, and unable to focus. The key, according to Buddhist wisdom, lies in finding the sweet spot, a balance where sleep refreshes and restores, rather than overwhelms or depletes. When you begin the process of falling asleep, the external world begins to recede. Your senses, sight, sound, touch, start to withdraw. The clamor of the outside world becomes distant, less important. In the Buddhist tradition, this quieting of the senses mirrors the teachings on how we should relate to the external world in general. Just as you gently turn down the noise of your surroundings as you fall asleep, Buddhism encourages us to reduce our attachment to external distractions in our waking life, finding moments of stillness amid the chaos. Consider the story from the Mahaparinibbana Sutta, where even in his final days, the Buddha rests under a tree after a period of teaching. The Buddha, an enlightened being, understood the necessity of rest, not as an escape, but as an essential part of maintaining clarity and presence. When he wakes up, refreshed and clear-minded, he demonstrates how sleep can, when approached mindfully, actually enhance awareness rather than detract from it. This mindfulness doesn't mean forcing ourselves to stop thinking, but rather giving ourselves permission to ease into a space where the mind can rest naturally. In modern science, we can draw a parallel between Buddhist teachings on sleep and what researchers have uncovered about the stages of rest. The process of sleep is divided into two key phases: REM, rapid eye movement, sleep, and NREM, non-rapid eye movement, sleep. During NREM, especially in the early stages, the body and mind are in a state of deep restoration. Brain waves slow, becoming more rhythmic. This stage is where the most significant physical restoration takes place, muscles repair, memories consolidate, and the body gets the rest it needs. Remarkably, this mirrors the Buddhist view that sleep, when done properly, should lead to a clearer, more refreshed mind, prepared to engage with the world anew. So, what can we take away from this understanding of sleep? First, consider how you approach your own bedtime routine. Are you mindful as you prepare to rest? Or do you simply collapse into bed, exhausted and disconnected? The practice of mindful sleep, as suggested in Buddhist teachings, doesn't require rigid rules or perfection. It's about gradually allowing the world to fade as you prepare to enter a restorative state, trusting that the process of sleep itself is an opportunity for the body and mind to recalibrate. Let's take a practical example. Imagine you've had a long day filled with tasks, meetings, or stressful situations. Instead of diving straight into bed, take a few moments to consciously release the tension. Picture your mind like a bag you've been carrying all day, full of worries, to-do lists, and all the noise of the world. As you lay down, visualize yourself setting that heavy bag down. Let go of it. It's not about forcing your mind to be empty, it's about acknowledging the busyness of the day and gently choosing to release it. This simple act of letting go can transform the quality of your rest, leading to deeper and more restorative sleep. Think about how often we rush through life, constantly engaged with tasks and distractions. What might happen if we consciously took a moment to turn down the volume of the world each night? Could this shift in mindset allow us to rest not just our bodies, but also our overactive minds? What might it feel like to engage in sleep with awareness, knowing that each night is an opportunity to restore, recharge, and be ready for a new day? These are the kinds of questions that can spark meaningful reflection as you explore the depth of sleep and its role in your life. By practicing mindfulness in your approach to sleep, you might notice subtle shifts, not just in the quality of your rest, but in how you engage with your life and the world around you. Sleep, far from being a simple escape, can be a profound tool for enhancing mindfulness, leading to greater clarity, presence, and balance in your waking life. Chapter 2, Mind Resting, Is It Really Gone? As you fall into a deep sleep, your body becomes still, your breathing slows, and the world outside seems to vanish completely. In this quiet, there's a natural question that arises: is the mind really gone? Does the mind simply turn off, like a switch, and fade into nothingness during sleep? From a Buddhist perspective, the answer is far more nuanced. The mind doesn't simply disappear, rather, it shifts into a different mode, a state of rest that's very much alive, even if it's not as active as during the waking hours. In Buddhism, the mind is described as being made up of 5 aggregates, or khandhas: rupa, the physical body; vedana, feelings; sana, perceptions; sakra, mental formations; and vya, consciousness. These aggregates work together to create our experience of the world, shaping how we think, feel, and perceive. While these elements are more active during our waking hours, they don't completely disappear when we sleep. Instead, they become quieter, less dominant, and more subtle, like a soft hum in the background of an otherwise silent room. During deep sleep, the physical body continues to function, your heart beats, your lungs breathe, but these processes become automatic, without requiring your conscious attention. The mental processes that govern your thoughts, perceptions, and emotions become less intense, but they are still there, just in a more subdued form. This shift is not the complete absence of the mind, but rather a temporary withdrawal from the busy, active thought processes that dominate our waking lives. This brings us to a key Buddhist concept, the citta, often translated as the mind or heart-mind. Unlike the 5 aggregates, which describe specific aspects of mental functioning, citta refers to the totality of mental activity, encompassing thoughts, emotions, and awareness itself. Even when we sleep, the citta remains active in some way, functioning quietly in the background, like a light left on in a room even when the house is otherwise still. The mind may not be fully engaged in the usual mental chatter, but it is not gone. It is simply operating in a more subtle, less intense manner. One of the best ways to understand this shift in mental activity is through a story from the Buddhist tradition about Sona, a monk who struggled with meditation. Sona was frustrated because he felt as if his mind was too tightly wound with effort. He went to the Buddha, seeking guidance, and the Buddha offered an analogy. He asked Sona about his past life as a musician and specifically about playing the lute. Sona, the Buddha asked, when the strings of your lute were too tight, was it in tune and playable? Sona replied, no, and when the strings were too loose, the Buddha continued. Sona responded, no, it wasn't right either. The Buddha explained that the mind works in a similar way, it needs to be balanced, not too tight with effort, but not too loose with distraction. In this analogy, sleep can be seen as the time when the mind finds its balance. It's not that the mind stops functioning altogether, but it loosens its grip on conscious thought and enters a more relaxed, less strained state. The mental activity doesn't vanish, it becomes quieter, more subtle. In the same way that tuning a musical instrument allows it to produce harmonious sound, allowing the mind to loosen up during sleep helps it to function more harmoniously when awake. But how can we apply this to our own lives? Consider your own experience with sleep and rest. How often do you go to bed with a racing mind, filled with thoughts, worries, and plans? Do you ever feel as though you can't truly switch off? If so, it's important to recognize that sleep is not about forcing the mind to stop thinking, but rather about gently guiding it into a quieter state. Think of it as training your mind to loosen the strings, to let go of the mental tension that builds up throughout the day. One simple practice to cultivate this shift in mental activity is to take a few moments before bed to acknowledge the busyness of your mind and consciously release it. You don't have to push your thoughts away, just allow them to pass through your awareness, like clouds drifting across the sky. This simple act of letting go can help ease your transition into sleep, allowing your mind to rest without the strain of trying to turn it off. This practice is supported by modern science as well. Research on the mind and sleep shows that during deep sleep, especially in slow-wave sleep, SWS, the brain enters a restorative phase. During this time, the brain clears out waste products, consolidates memories, and prepares for the challenges of the next day. This process is critical for cognitive function and emotional health, reinforcing the idea that sleep isn't a time of nothingness but a time when the mind undergoes deep, meaningful work. When we sleep, the mind doesn't just go blank, it's recharging, processing, and restoring. The Buddhists recognize this, offering us an understanding of sleep as a time to let go, to rest, and to recalibrate our mental and emotional states. Sleep is not an escape from the mind, it's an opportunity for the mind to work in a quieter, more peaceful state. So, the next time you find yourself struggling to fall asleep, ask yourself, what is the tension I'm holding on to? What am I trying to force my mind to do? Instead of forcing sleep or pushing away thoughts, try acknowledging the mental clutter and gently letting it go. Allow the mind to rest in its natural rhythm, just as the Buddha taught about finding balance in all things. By understanding that the mind doesn't simply vanish during sleep, but rather transitions into a different mode of functioning, you can begin to approach sleep more mindfully, allowing it to become a true restorative process. What might it feel like to rest without the pressure of turning off your mind? How could this shift in perspective transform your relationship with sleep and, by extension, your overall mental health? These are questions worth reflecting on, as you explore the deeper potential of sleep, mind, and rest. Chapter 3, Dreams, a Window into the Mind. As you slip into deeper sleep, the world around you fades, and the dreamscape emerges. What was once solid and tangible becomes fluid, shifting into strange or familiar images, emotions, and sensations. Dreams are often surreal, illogical, or deeply vivid. Sometimes they make perfect sense, and other times, they seem utterly nonsensical. But what do they truly mean? Are they just random images spun together by the brain, or do they offer us something more, something deeper about our mind and consciousness? From a Buddhist perspective, dreams are not dismissed as meaningless or purely random. Instead, they are seen as reflections of the mind's activity, a direct window into the mental processes that govern our waking experience. The Buddha taught that the mind is the forerunner of all things. Our thoughts, feelings, and experiences, both conscious and unconscious, shape our reality, and this includes the world we experience in our dreams. Just as the world we see when we're awake is colored by our perceptions and mental formations, the world we encounter in dreams is shaped by the same forces, revealing the inner workings of our mind. Imagine that the world you experience during the day is like a movie projected onto a screen. Your waking life is the film, and the mind is the projector that creates the images. When you dream, however, it's as if you step behind the scenes and see the gears and machinery of the projector itself. Dreams offer us a behind-the-scenes look at the mental machinery that shapes our waking lives. Sometimes it's a glimpse of clarity, where we can see how our experiences, emotions, and desires have come together to create a certain narrative. Other times, it's a chaotic jumble, a reflection of the mental clutter that we carry with us. The Buddhist texts mention that dreams arise from various sources: past experiences, unresolved emotions, physical sensations, and even deep-seated fears or desires. Dreams are not predictive of the future, but they are mirrors of the present state of mind. They often bring to the surface things that we may not fully acknowledge in our waking lives. For example, if you're anxious about a particular situation, you might find that your dreams reflect those anxieties. Dreams become a way for the mind to process what's unresolved, offering a space to work through emotions and experiences that we haven't yet come to terms with. This aligns closely with what modern science tells us about dreams. In neuroscience, we know that dreams primarily occur during REM, rapid eye movement, sleep, a phase characterized by heightened brain activity, rapid eye movements, and muscle paralysis. During this time, the brain processes emotional experiences, consolidates memories, and integrates new information. The emotional centers of the brain, such as the amygdala, are highly active, while the logical, reasoning parts of the brain, like the prefrontal cortex, are less active. This explains why dreams are often so emotionally charged and why they sometimes seem to defy logic. Science also suggests that dreams play an important role in emotional regulation and memory consolidation. They help us process the events of the day, integrate new knowledge, and work through unresolved emotional conflicts. It's like the brain's nightly cleanup crew, sorting through the clutter and preparing us for a new day. In this sense, dreams can be seen as a natural extension of the mind's need to understand, integrate, and make sense of its experiences. The Buddha, too, understood the power of dreams. In one famous story from the Jataka tales, King Pasenadi has a series of disturbing dreams. Fearing that these dreams portended disaster for his kingdom, he went to the Buddha for guidance. Rather than interpreting the dreams as literal predictions, the Buddha explained that they reflected the king's own anxieties and fears about the future. The dreams weren't signs of impending events but were a manifestation of the king's mental state. This story highlights an important point: dreams often reflect the internal landscape of the mind, rather than predicting the future. But how can we approach our own dreams? What can they teach us about ourselves? The key is to approach dreams with curiosity and an open mind. Instead of dismissing them as irrelevant or meaningless, we can reflect on what they reveal about our emotional and mental state. After waking from a vivid dream, take a moment to pause and reflect. What emotions did the dream evoke? What themes or symbols stood out? What might these elements be telling you about your current state of mind? For example, if you have a recurring dream of being chased, it may point to feelings of anxiety or fear that you haven't fully addressed. If you dream about being in an unfamiliar place, it could symbolize a sense of uncertainty or a new phase in your life. These are just a few examples of how you can begin to interpret your dreams and uncover deeper layers of your own consciousness. In my own life, I've found that keeping a dream journal has been incredibly helpful. By writing down my dreams, I've been able to recognize patterns and themes that I may not have noticed in the moment. Some dreams have provided clarity on unresolved issues, while others have shown me hidden fears or desires that I was not fully aware of. This practice has allowed me to engage more deeply with my subconscious mind, making it a valuable tool for self-awareness and emotional growth. What might happen if we start to view our dreams not as random, meaningless experiences, but as opportunities for insight and self-reflection? How might this shift in perspective help us understand our emotional and mental landscape better? Could paying more attention to our dreams lead to greater self-awareness and inner peace? These are questions worth exploring as we learn to approach our dreams with curiosity and mindfulness. Ultimately, dreams are a profound window into the mind, offering us a glimpse into the deeper layers of our consciousness. By understanding the Buddhist perspective on dreams, as well as the insights from modern science, we can begin to approach our dreams not just as entertainment or mystery, but as a valuable source of self-knowledge. The next time you wake from a dream, instead of brushing it off, consider what it might be telling you about your inner world. What patterns, emotions, or thoughts might be hiding beneath the surface, waiting to be uncovered? Chapter 4: Deep Sleep, the Silent Rejuvenation. As you slip further into the quiet of the night, a sense of profound stillness envelopes you. This is the realm of deep sleep, the time when the mind becomes almost completely silent, and the body enters a state of deep restoration. In this phase, there are no dreams, no narrative threads weaving their way through your consciousness. It's as if the mind and body have been completely unplugged from the waking world. But is this really a state of nothingness, a void where the mind vanishes? From both a Buddhist and scientific perspective, deep sleep is not an absence, it is a time of potential, a silent process of rejuvenation that sets the stage for the next day. Buddhism teaches that even in the deepest states of rest, there is still a subtle form of awareness. The Abhidhamma, a key Buddhist text, describes a concept called bhavanga-siddha, which can be translated as life continuum or the ground of becoming. This is the underlying stream of consciousness that persists even when we are not actively thinking or perceiving. Think of it as the silent foundation upon which our waking thoughts and experiences are built. In deep sleep, this subtle stream of consciousness continues to flow, even though we may not be consciously aware of it. In deep sleep, the mind may not be engaged with the external world or with our inner thoughts, but it is still there, functioning on a fundamental level. It's as if the lights have been dimmed, but the power is still running in the background. This subtle level of awareness, which Buddhism describes as bhavanga, is not something we directly experience in our ordinary, waking lives. It is a quiet, invisible force that provides the continuity of experience between the active moments of waking and the stillness of deep sleep. This aligns remarkably well with modern science. Slow-wave sleep, SWS, which is the deepest stage of NREM sleep, has been shown to be the most restorative. During this phase, the brain's electrical activity is dominated by delta waves, which are slow, high-amplitude brain waves that are associated with profound physical and mental rest. In this state, the body and mind undergo critical restorative processes. Growth hormone is released, tissues are repaired, the immune system is strengthened, and the brain clears out waste products that accumulate throughout the day. It's like a nightly maintenance session that refreshes the body, prepares it for the day ahead, and helps the mind reset. But if deep sleep is so important for rejuvenation, why is it that it's so often underappreciated or misunderstood? In our modern world, with its fast-paced demands, we tend to overlook the value of this quiet, seemingly uneventful phase of rest. We focus on the more active aspects of sleep, like the dreaming phase or the time it takes to fall asleep, but the silent work that happens in deep sleep is often taken for granted. From a Buddhist point of view, deep sleep is not simply about physical restoration, though that is undoubtedly an important part. It is also about the subtle rebalancing of the mind. Just as the body needs to repair itself, the mind needs time to process, integrate, and reset. When we sleep deeply, we allow our minds to withdraw from the constant flow of thoughts, perceptions, and mental formations. In this way, deep sleep serves as a kind of mental purification. It's not about forcing the mind to be quiet but allowing it to naturally rest, free from the usual distractions and attachments. What can we learn from this quiet time of rest? In our waking lives, we are constantly engaged with the world around us, reacting to stimuli, making decisions, planning, and thinking. But deep sleep teaches us the value of stillness and non-action. It shows us that there is a profound strength in quietness, a rejuvenation that happens when we let go of striving. By embracing this stillness during sleep, we also learn to bring a sense of calm and balance into our waking hours. Just as deep sleep is essential for physical and mental health, allowing ourselves moments of stillness throughout the day can help maintain that balance. The question then becomes, how can we create the conditions for deeper, more restorative sleep? First, consider the way you approach your bedtime routine. Are you rushing through your evening, bringing the stresses of the day into your bed with you? Do you go to sleep with a racing mind, filled with worries and thoughts about the future? If so, it may be helpful to adopt a practice of mindful relaxation before bed, to consciously ease your mind into the quiet of sleep. This can be as simple as a few moments of deep breathing, meditation, or a gratitude practice, anything that helps shift your focus from the external world to the internal world of stillness. Just as the Buddha taught the importance of balance in all things, deep sleep represents the balance between activity and rest, between striving and letting go. It is in this balance that we find the ability to rejuvenate, to restore our energy, and to prepare ourselves for the challenges of the next day. From a scientific standpoint, deep sleep plays a critical role in clearing metabolic waste from the brain and consolidating memories. But from a Buddhist perspective, it also serves as a reminder of the deeper, subtler nature of the mind. Even in the absence of conscious thought, the mind is still at work, processing, restoring, and recalibrating. This quiet awareness is essential for our mental well-being and emotional health. In practical terms, embracing the value of deep sleep means creating an environment that supports this natural process. Consider your sleep hygiene. Are your surroundings conducive to rest? Is your mind clear and calm enough to let go of the day's distractions? The deeper you allow yourself to rest, the more rejuvenated you will feel, not just physically, but mentally and emotionally as well. In your waking hours, you may find that the stillness of deep sleep has a ripple effect. As your body and mind restore during the night, you may wake up feeling more grounded, centered, and ready to approach the day with clarity. Just as the Buddha emphasized the importance of balance, deep sleep teaches us that in stillness, we can find great strength and resilience. So, as you prepare for your next night's rest, think about the quiet, silent rejuvenation that deep sleep offers. Rather than rushing through it, allow yourself to fully embrace this time for healing and renewal. Could it be that in our modern world, where everything is about doing, we've forgotten the power of non-action, the power of just resting in stillness? What might it feel like to truly embrace deep sleep, allowing your mind and body to reset without interruption? Let these questions guide you as you reflect on the quiet power of deep sleep. Chapter 5, Waking Up, Setting the Tone for the Day. The gentle transition from sleep to wakefulness is often overlooked, yet it's one of the most powerful moments in our daily routine. As the soft light of morning seeps through the curtains and the world outside begins to stir, you may feel a subtle shift within yourself. Your body moves, your senses start to reawaken, and the first thoughts of the day begin to emerge. But what if waking up wasn't just about getting out of bed and jumping into the demands of the day? What if this moment, the very first moments of your waking hours, held the key to how the rest of your day unfolds? From a Buddhist perspective, waking up is not just a return to physical activity, it is an opportunity to cultivate awareness, to consciously set the tone for the day. The Buddha often rose early, before dawn, and used this time for meditation, reflection, and setting his intentions for the day. He understood the power of those first moments and the way they could shape the entire course of the day. He emphasized that wakefulness is not just about being physically conscious, it's about being mentally present, aware, and engaged in the unfolding of each moment. In our modern world, we tend to rush through the morning, jumping straight into the chaos of emails, meetings, or other distractions. The act of waking up is often reduced to a mere physical shift from sleep to activity, without any mindfulness or intention. But this rush can leave us feeling ungrounded, disconnected, and reactive throughout the day. Instead of using the morning to establish a sense of calm and focus, we dive straight into the demands of the outside world, only to find ourselves overwhelmed and scattered by the time we reach midday. Buddhism teaches us that the way we wake up can set the stage for everything that follows. The Buddha likened the mind to a boat and suggested that how we set the sail in the morning would determine the course of the journey. If we wake up with intention, calmness, and mindfulness, we are more likely to navigate the challenges of the day with grace and clarity. On the other hand, if we wake up in a rush, stressed, or distracted, we are more likely to be tossed about by the waves of the day, reacting to whatever comes our way instead of responding with awareness. The scientific community also supports the importance of the morning. Studies have shown that the body's natural circadian rhythm is deeply connected to how we wake up. When we wake up, our cortisol levels rise, signaling to our body that it's time to start the day. This surge of cortisol helps us feel alert and energized, but if we wake up abruptly, with a jarring alarm or a sense of panic, we can disrupt this natural process, leaving us feeling groggy or stressed. Instead, a gentle, mindful transition from sleep to wakefulness can help ease the body into the day and promote a sense of calm alertness. What does a mindful morning look like in practice? It doesn't have to be complicated or time-consuming, but it does require intention. Rather than reaching for your phone the moment you wake up, take a few moments to simply be with yourself. Feel the sensations in your body as you begin to stir. Notice the weight of the blankets, the softness of the pillow, the rhythm of your breath. Instead of immediately rushing into thoughts or tasks, just breathe and observe. A powerful practice is to set a simple intention for the day. This doesn't need to be anything grandiose or specific, just a quality you wish to embody throughout the day. It could be kindness, patience, or presence. For example, before getting out of bed, you might say to yourself, "Today, I will approach everything with gratitude," or "Today, I will be mindful in every conversation." This small practice can create a ripple effect, shaping the way you respond to situations throughout the day. In my own life, I've found that taking even a few moments in the morning to set my intention has a profound impact on how my day unfolds. I used to dive into my tasks the moment I woke up, feeling rushed and anxious. But now, I take a few deep breaths and ask myself, what kind of person do I want to be today? This small shift has helped me start my day with clarity and purpose, making it easier to face whatever challenges come my way. But it's not just about setting an intention, it's also about how we wake up physically. We've all experienced the feeling of waking up abruptly, perhaps to the sound of an alarm blaring, and instantly feeling tense and rushed. This jolting start can leave us feeling disoriented and stressed. On the other hand, when we allow ourselves to gradually wake up, perhaps by stretching, breathing deeply, or just lying in bed for a few moments before getting up, we set a gentler tone for the rest of the day. What if we could bring the same mindful awareness to the first moments of our day that we bring to our meditation or mindfulness practice? How would that change the way we experience the day ahead? Imagine waking up, not as a reaction to the outside world, but as a conscious decision to be present in your own life. Instead of rushing from one task to the next, you begin the day with clarity, intention, and peace. This practice also aligns with what the Buddha taught about mindfulness, being present in the moment, free from distraction or reaction. Just as we practice mindfulness in meditation, we can cultivate mindfulness as we wake up, allowing our first moments of the day to be filled with awareness, intention, and calm. The more we practice this gentle, mindful waking, the more we can carry that sense of peace and clarity throughout the rest of our day. It's like setting the course for a ship. Once the sail is set, it guides the ship in the right direction. Similarly, once we set our intention and practice mindfulness in the morning, we create a sense of direction and purpose that will guide us through the day. How do you wake up in the morning? Is it a rush to start the day, or do you take a moment to set the tone for the hours ahead? What small change could you make to create a more mindful, intentional start to your day? Could it be as simple as pausing for a few deep breaths, setting an intention, or stretching your body with awareness? These small practices may seem insignificant, but they have the power to transform the way you experience the rest of your day. If you found this video eye-opening and full of valuable information, don't forget to leave a comment and share your thoughts with us. How do you experience your own sleep? And remember, the journey to understanding the mind is an ongoing one, and we're here to guide you. Subscribe to Serenity Path to explore more on mindfulness, meditation, and how ancient wisdom can help us navigate our modern world. Stay tuned for more fascinating insights in the next video. Sleep well, and wake up with clarity.